Hey there, guys. Thanks for tuning in to my new news, weather, and entertainment channel. And it is the tropical season. Meteorologist Anthony J here, updating what's going on. We have a tropical storm that you probably have heard about, and it formed early earlier in the week. This is it here, Tropical Storm Erin, and it is moving right along to the west in a early direction. It passed through actually Cabo Verde after Sunday. It caused, unfortunately, some major problems there. There were some fatalities from serious flooding, flash flooding that occurred as it was forming and passed over there. Fortunately, that's the only area we're watching at the moment. There is a tropical low or a low pressure that formed in the Gulf recently, but that's not going to develop. Another tropical wave blew up here near Central America. There's a locally heavy rain with that, but no development is anticipated. Now, let me go into what happened here. Here's some video of what happened in the island of Sao Vicente in Cabo Verde, of course. And forget the Cabo Verde. You had tremendous rainfall rates there that caused, like I said, unfortunately, several casualties. At least 7 people have died, and some people are still missing because of what has happened. But again, this was as the storm was passing through around Sunday to Monday timeframe. So this storm blew up rather fast, and we also expect it to be a hurricane. Here are the names for the remainder of the season. We have gotten through five, although of course, Aaron is happening now. And here's the rest of the names for the remainder of the season. It is expected to be an active year above average. So we're entering near the peak of the season now. There's where Aaron is right about here, and it's moving away from well away from Cabo Verde and just moving straight out into the Atlantic at the present time. We look at the satellite. This is a close up of the storm. Hasn't looked especially healthy today. It doesn't have a good circular appearance, but it is looking actually a little better than it did earlier. We've seen more convection develop around the center. I know it's getting dark now, but right now the latest update, and I'll bring that up here. Well, I'll bring it up next actually. But I'll tell you, it's 45-mile-per-hour winds moving west about 22 miles per hour. But it's going over open water. Now, let me show you the forecast models here. Our reliable Euro model, this is now this is the storm Thursday, at about 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So this is 48 hours from now, and you can see it is still almost 1,000 miles still away from the Caribbean. So it's gonna take a while for it to get here. Now, where is this gonna go? I'll show you. Thursday night into Friday, this is where the storm's gonna be, and into Saturday morning. This is 8 o'clock Saturday morning. So the storm moved from about here to here. Now, it's going to be growing in size. There could be some rain bands affecting areas of the Northern Caribbean. We could have tropical storm advisories, possibly a hurricane watch. But the good news is that most of the models want to keep the center of this storm north of the islands, especially the northernmost islands like Antigua, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico would be most vulnerable at this time. But the models are pretty insistent on taking it away to the north. You'll see as we go through Saturday itself that the storm is chugging along and it's missing the islands except the southern fringe of it. So what that means is that we could have some locally heavy downpours with some local flooding, and tropical storm wind gusts are a possibility, but that and also very high surf and rip currents, but not a direct impact. By Monday, you can see the Euro model turns it up here to the northwest, and it is moving away from the Caribbean, away from the Bahamas too. Now, Bermuda is right about here. So they might be most at risk by this storm if it goes near there. And here's the latest smoothed out tracks of the various computer models. Very tight here, meaning excellent agreement. As you head later, of course, more spread, but they all have the same idea. The storm just missing the island, staying north, the center that is, and eventually turning north, either near Bermuda or west of Bermuda. And that looks good. All the models are indicating this. Now, as we take a look, here's the latest update as of 5 o'clock on Tuesday. This is where the storm was. It had 45-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving pretty quickly. It'll start to bend a little bit to the right, though, as we head into Friday and Saturday. This point here is 2 p.m. on Sunday, and they have an M. That means it's expected to be a major hurricane. So it's going not going to be a low level storm. It should be a major hurricane by the time it gets here, and before about it makes that turn. Here's the hurricane scale. Category 1 is the lowest of a hurricane. Right now, it's just a tropical storm. It'll get up to here, here, and likely somewhere in the 3 range. Can't rule out it could get up to 4 at some point, but fortunately, that's going to be away from most land areas. Now, fast forwarding again, the future cast with the Euro Tuesday. This is Tuesday. Look where the storm is. Way out here. That's more than 600 miles off the coast. And but look where it's going to be headed now for Tuesday and Wednesday. Late Wednesday, it is up here, north of Bermuda, way off the northeastern coast, but it will be producing wave action. So it's not recommended to go out in the ocean next week while this hurricane is here because we'll have waves that could be 8 to 10 feet or greater in some cases, and rip currents are going to be enhanced. Now, as we go past Wednesday, look at this. The storm hightails it out of here. In about 24 hours, it goes from here to up here. We'll have to see if it gets close to Atlantic Canada by that point. But that would be the only area that looks like is likely to be affected, say around Newfoundland. So you should watch that if you're up in that area late next week. So the bottom line is with this storm is that all the models are in agreement. Here's another one. The Google AI model, a smoothed out version of where it's taking the storm into next week. And these are plots of ensembles or different runs of the same model or submodels of the same model. They have the plots as far west as not even to Florida or way out here. So what that means is it's much more likely to follow a path somewhere near the middle of that and not closer to the coast. And also down to the south, Puerto Rico, we Virgin Islands, we still think that it is likely to miss you there. That is the eye of the storm. These are some more plots from the Euro model. You see almost all of them are to the north. And as you take that out in time, this is next week. The plots, again, we have westernmost ones of where the storm could be, but the vast majority of them, though, are here and even way out here. So that tells us that this storm is not going to be a direct threat for the east coast of the United States, uh, and that's because the subtropical high, the Bermuda high, does is strong where the storm is to the north, but it doesn't the western extent of the high doesn't reach all the way to the coast. So we love that. That means that the storm cannot make it that far west. It'll only get so far west. And here's a simulated satellite of what the storm might look like on Tuesday. You see it here, well off the coast. It's going to become quite large, and then you see it there on Wednesday. So a storm this large is going to kick up a lot of wave action, but it's going to move away, like I mentioned. And we don't really expect a whole lot of change in this forecast. So that's good news. It may shift a little left, a little right. We're watching areas around Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands this weekend. We hope the storm passes north, but it may cause some problems and will right along the shore, especially. So that's the latest update on future Hurricane Erin.